we've laid out the target of 20,000 new jobs to measure ourselves. But we recognize that the process needs to improve as well. And that's why we'll be bringing forward a new model at Business New Brunswick. Voilà pourquoi nous allons créer un nouveau modèle pour Entreprise Nouveau-Brunswick. We'll give them a new mandate and a better focus so that they have the tools to help our businesses grow. Now, the Conservative suggests what we need is a parallel bureaucracy. David Alward has promised that he would split economic development across Business New Brunswick and a new agency called Invest New Brunswick. And as Premier, that he would dust his hands of responsibility for job growth and have no goals and, well, leave it all to the private sector. But we recognize that it is businesses, both big and small, today who create jobs in the province of New Brunswick. Et nous reconnaissons que ce sont les entreprises, petites et grandes, qui créeront des emplois. But we also recognize that there is a role for government in giving businesses the tools that they need to help to grow. And we believe that it is best accomplished through one agency with strong leadership and a strong mandate. When David Alward talked about splitting up economic development, I got to tell you, it sounded pretty familiar. Now, some of you here today in the press that have followed politics in New Brunswick for a number of years, you know, it may have been a feeling of déjà vu for some of you. You know, that's because we've seen this movie before. You know, in the year 2000, Bernard Lord broke up the McKenna Area Department of Economic Development and Tourism. They split it in two, if you remember at that time. They created Business New Brunswick, and I want you to wait for this. At that time, you remember, they also created a department called Investments and Export New Brunswick. Well, if that sounds familiar, it's because that model was such a failure that within 18 months, if you remember, Bernard Lord merged them back together under the name Business New Brunswick. Nous avons beaucoup appris pendant 4 dernières années. Nous avons fait des erreurs en temps, mais quand nous avons fait, nous avons appris la leçon et nous avons fait mieux. Il semble que ce n'est pas le cas avec le Parti conservateur. Ils doivent essayer de modèle de 10 ans passés qui n'a pas marché. C'est évident qu'ils veulent répéter un modèle qui n'a pas marché 10 ans passés. And over the past 4 years, our economy has grown. And that's despite the global recession, which has hampered some of our efforts as a province to move forward. But the truth is that it isn't all good news. Nous avons fait des investissements records en santé, en éducation et en infrastructure publique, et c'est pour cela que le secteur public a progressé 3 fois plus vite que le secteur privé. C'est clair aujourd'hui que ceci ne pourra pas durer. And as the recession ends and the stimulus programs of the federal and provincial governments wind down, some of these jobs will disappear. So we have to make sure today that the private sector is given every opportunity to fill that gap and to grow even further. The new Liberal government will do this today by working with business leaders in all sectors to develop a detailed strategy to create 20,000 jobs over the next 4 years and complete that strategy within 3 months. We're also going to be reorganizing Business New Brunswick to have the right mandate and the right tools for the 21st century. We'll be creating a new unit within Business New Brunswick that's going to be focused on high growth and emerging sectors. Sectors like information and communications technology, biosciences, modular fabrication, and oil and gas. And given that unit the tools to achieve the target of creating 5,000 new high-paying jobs in these sectors over the next 4 years. And we're also going to be giving line departments that work day-to-day with business people in traditional sectors economic mandates to make sure that job creation is always top of mind.